What's going on, guys? Bladezilla here, and today I got another cool one from Shirogorov hiding in this box. Yes, I know you're wondering what it is, but the title, I would assume, should tell what that is. And there you go. It is a Jeans, which has been out quite a while now. This is going on, I think, 6 or 7 years old, and we're going to take a look at that. Just a reminder, guys, check out my website, bladezilla.ca, where I have lots of cool stuff on the website. Just put up some Koenigs, F3s. I've got this guy here, which is super cool. Dmitry Sinkevich, Shirogorov collab. But anyway, bladezilla.ca. That's the website. I get asked every day what it is, even though it's in my name. So hopefully that helps. Nice little shout out. But I've got a pile of knives to go through here that are going to be hitting the website. One of which is this guy. So let's get started, take a look at it, and see what's going on with it, because I've heard good things. So this is how they come. You know, these older style special editions and collabs, man, these boxes just get absolutely trashed as you move them around. So, you know, don't judge a knife by its box, so to speak, or a book by its cover. I guess traditionally that's what they say. There we go. Boy, I haven't seen one of these in a while. I actually don't even know what that is. Any ideas what this is? This is like an old, super cool, man. Jeans. So these are actually found on the Shirogorov website. They have a lot of the old export documents, and they're public now, but I guess at some point they included them with the knives, so that's pretty cool. Number 101 of 200, which is awesome. If you want to Google translate that, go for it. I have no idea what it says. Nice little stamp, and like I said, I think that's more for exporting than anything. That's a nice little touch. We're going to leave that in the box. Alright, so let's, I guess, get started and show this knife, which is right there. Ooh, baby. So this is the Shirogorov Jeans. Let's get all the fingerprints off of this. This is actually my first time seeing the knife. Okay, so I've got this guy sort of polished up as best as I can to get some oil off of it and whatever. But it is an anodized blue to look like jeans, fun fact. So there's going to be fingerprints on it. And let's be honest, my hands are sweaty, arms weak, something spaghetti. And anyway. Cool knife, super cool. Thought I had a nick in there, but nope, that is just a sticker. So this guy, I think, is about 7 years old now. And it's cool because it's one of the originals that, you know, it's a Shirogorov Dmitry Sinkevich collaboration. It's an earlier one, not as early as some of the others, but you're seeing a couple cool things. Like, one, it's got a cool different asymmetrical grind blade. So you got that fuller, right? That's both only on one side. As well, it's actually curved, which is just cool. It's just one detail that's really, really interesting, and that's something you don't see on a lot of other knives, obviously. And that's what's so cool about these collabs. You just get stuff that is different. In the spirit of the of this particular knife, I'm actually going to kind of compare it with some other Dmitry Sinkevich Shirogorov collabs, because I think that's what is kind of deserving here. But before we get started, let's get some measurements. I hopefully don't want to make this video too long today, but I can already tell you I'm just really excited about it. I'm a little antsy, and I think I'm going to like this one, I can already tell you. So let's take a look at it here. So a nice Persian style sweep to the blade. We've got a dark color to it, right? It is anodized to look like jeans. It's kind of a stone washed ano, both on the blue, and I believe the blade's stone washed as well. But let's take some measurements. So we're coming in at 8 5/8 roughly on the overall. If that looks right, please click the like button. Blade length of less than 4 to the center choil, but grind length, I'd say, of 3 3/4, roughly, in that range. Handle length of 4 3/4-ish, I'd say, right around there. So, pretty good size. It's a full-size knife. How this guy stacks up in the series that I have currently that are Sinkevich collabs. Let's take a look. Well, we have our bio. We love our bios. If you're new to the channel, please, you should know this by now. I love the Shirogorov bio. It's one of my favorite all times, and I just can't get enough of it. We have the Kami as well, which is another Sinkevich. Great knife. Super underrated, especially because it's got an S110V blade on it. Not only that, if you look at this thing, if it wants to focus, come on, man. It's got a real cool asymmetric grind to it. Right? So you look at it like, okay, yeah, it's deep, whatever, on this side. Look at the other side when I flip this over. Look how different it is. Huh? Isn't that cool? That's the Sinkevich style, man. It's like asymmetry. And then not only that, it looks a little weird because when you show this blade, everyone's like, oh, it's off center. And it's not. It's actually the grind. The blade's perfectly center, but the grind makes it look off center. It's a nice little detail, honest to goodness. And it's just unique action with the multi-row bearings. I love the Kami, love the bio. I really love these collabs. Really. Now, do I have another bio light that I can kind of show here? I do. So just to kind of show the others, I'll put a nice bio light in between here. These ones are my knives, so I don't want to bump anything, obviously, but I will do my best not to. There you go. So there's your 4 that I have, anyway, access to right now. I don't know if I have any other Sink collabs. Nothing, no. I've got a cord coming, but nothing today, I don't believe. So there's your 2 bios. Love these knives. If you haven't watched the videos I've done on these, I highly recommend them. The Bio Light and the Bio Dark. It's some of my favorite action in a knife because it uses the Mickey Mouse style multi-row bearings, which just makes them feel superb. Absolutely superb. Highly recommend getting your hands on these. They're still fairly readily available to get. I did put a batch of these up on the website recently, and both sold in, I think a day or less than a day. First hour, I think one of them was gone. So I am trying to do more of these kind of pre-owned stuff, and they are available. They're out there. They're floating around, but they're just becoming more and more rare as the days go on. But we're not here to talk about that knife. We're here to talk about the jeans with fingerprints. So, a couple things. So what are we looking at here? So this is my first time, like I said, actually looking at this knife. So, a couple things. You have titanium handles, front and back. You've got some cool patterns kind of milled into it. I don't know what that's supposed to represent, but in the spirit of jeans, you could kind of maybe even say it looks like ripped jeans. I'm assuming that's kind of what they're going for, right? When you tear jeans, the denim kind of clings on, and it does that kind of thing to it. So it looks cool. We've got the Sinkevich pivots, or hardware, I should say, on this side. And I don't have a Sinkevich bit, so I can't open this up or look at it, and I wouldn't anyway. But that's their signature design. Some cool kind of bronze hardware, which matches the bronze or brass, I don't know what color it's meant to be, but that back spacer, which is nice and long. It flows all the way up to the top, to the curve there, which is nice. Makes a lot of sense. We've got a hole for a lanyard, which is very similar to the Stellar that I always like to show and how we do the Stellar. Right? There's your lanyard hole. And whereas on some of the other ones, we'll use the Quantum today, that lanyard spot is done into the backspacer. So, and I think the Sinkeviches are done, or the bios are done the same way. Let's grab the light. So yes. So nothing new to Sinkevich, but they are kind of adapting to that a little bit as well. And remember, this is an older knife. It's about 7 years old now. So it doesn't have all the cool features of some of the captive pivot system I can't imagine, but it is on multi-row bearings. So it's got some good action to it. It's a heavy blade, it's Vanex. It's heavy, so you've got to tune these guys so that that doesn't fall down too easily, and it's done beautifully well. Beautifully well. It definitely has some heavy action to it. The knife itself is, I think approaching 5 ounces. I thought I read somewhere it was like 4.7. But this is just going off memory. And my memory, as you guys know, is obviously some of the best. There's never any mistakes made other than most of them. But I thought 4.7 is what I read somewhere. 4.8-ish, so give or take 0.1. So it's a heavier knife, but it's a full-size knife, right? Big handle. It's got some girth to it. That's what she said. The jimping as well, I should talk about this. The jimping, very in line with the style that we're getting on both of these, so they're matching, which is beautiful. Beautifully done. I love that. Nice deep sweep Persian style to it. I really love, like, when I saw this blade online, originally, when I first saw this, I was a little worried about it. I was like, kind of gives me like a Marauder, like a CKF Marauder vibe, based on this. But then when you flip that blade over and you realize it's flat, it's just such a cool feature. It's a real cool feature. Very comfortable in hand. Very comfortable. Ooh. Because of how deep it is, it almost feels like you're holding like a pistol. It just wraps so nicely. Flat top. Because of that curve in the top of the blade, obviously it doesn't really want you to encourage you to choke up on it. At least not in a symmetrical sense. But you can. As we get to the top, it does expand outward to the tip to give some strength to the blade. Edges on this guy are mint. Looks like we got a mirror on it as well, which is just so done well. Oh my god. Beautiful knife. Beautiful blade. Asymmetry is just something so nice when it's done correctly. In this case, like, it's just like imperfectly perfect. I love that. We've got an over travel stop and a metal lock bar insert. And it looks like the over travel stop is actually up top here instead of down low beneath. So you can kind of see that it's going to actually butt up against the inside of the frame there. That's unique. I don't see a lot of Shiros doing that. Usually it's down here, protruding. And if you know what I'm talking about, I will grab even the Sink. It's the Sinkevich here, the bio. So if you look here, this is the bio dark. Yeah, this is the dark. So see in here, there's a little piece of metal below that Torx. See how it sticks down? That's your over travel stop in this case. Whereas on this one, they've put it up here instead of down here. Nice little detail. And to boot, they actually put a physical limiter in the frame, right? Instead of milling out and putting this piece against the back of the frame, if that makes sense. They've actually milled it out. It's hard to, it's difficult to explain. Like, if you're looking at it, it should make perfect sense. But I can't make sense of it. You should just see that little spot. Anyway, it's too late at night for me to be going over this stuff. I've got a stack of knives to go through here. But hey, it's just fun. It's just fun. It's just fun. On the show side, obviously, because it's so cool with the ripped jeans vibe that I'm getting. I don't know, like I said earlier, if that's meant to be that way or what. I think it is. I love how the hardware is, there's nothing shown. That's so cool to me, right? They've put all the screws on the back side so that the show side can be nice and smooth on the stonewash. The clip is a little different than what we're used to seeing on Shirogorov. It's, it's still putting all the weight on the frame versus the lock bar in a duckbill fashion. Very simple. Less milling and machine work than we're traditionally used to seeing. But still very functional. You've got some Torx bits, it looks like. Probably T8s. Up top here, instead of Sinkevich bits on the bio, if I'm correct. If we look back on our bio, we can see, so there's our sync bit. And then on the clip, we have that as well, which is a smaller version, I think, a little bit smaller. Whereas this guy, we're just a little more traditional, so you're kind of seeing maybe this was a bit of a transition piece. Some real thick kind of cutouts underneath here. Some jimping on the back, which I assume is for reverse gripping, but you don't usually see that on a lot of Shiros. So that's a bit of a unique thing. Looks great though. Looks very well done and matches the size and milling on the back spacer, which is titanium, as I mentioned earlier. It's internally skeletonized for weight reduction, and I'll grab my little light and I'll show that, like I always like to do, if I can find it, which seems to always be disappearing. So hopefully you can see inside here. It's more kind of like trapezoidal milling than like micro milling cutouts that we're kind of getting used to now. So it's that era, right? But big chunks of material taken out, which looks awesome. No complaints. It definitely feels lighter in hand than when I saw 4 point whatever ounces, 4.7 or weighed 4.8. It doesn't feel like a 5-ounce knife. It feels very light for the size. Like it's a thick, big knife. Like there's no getting away from that. You feel like it's taller and a bit fatter than a normal Shirogorov. And that was one of the first things I noticed. So it doesn't feel heavy at all. Balance, I don't know if I really want to do this, but over my own hand, sure. It feels back heavy. Yeah. It's definitely rearward versus overbalanced on the pivot, which is fine. On the blade itself, do we have any marking to show that it is a Vanax? I should just say Vanax. I don't see any. Let me find out where it is. One sec. Yeah, I don't see anything. I just did a quick Google search on this knife to find out where that writing is, and I couldn't actually see any writing, but I was kind of half expecting it to kind of be in here somewhere, and it's not, that I'm aware of. There is, however, a little detail that I completely did not see, in that inside here there's actually a Shirogorov bear, and I think I read that there's Sinkevich design written in there as well. Yeah, so bottom here is the bear, and the top is the Sinkevich design. That's going to make for a cool photo. I'm going to have to take a picture of that. As always, guys, like I am terrible at showing what the inside of these knives look like, and I'm so sorry that I can't provide you this, but I'll do my best here, okay? So I'm going to lock the ISO so it doesn't mess around, and we'll see if we can kind of show this. One sec. All right, let's see if this works. This is going to look really blown out, but we'll do our best. I apologize in advance. So on the inside, you can see the little Shirogorov bear. See that on the tip of the handle there? And then on the other side is that Sinkevich design. So hopefully you can see that. Let's see if I can adjust that. I don't think I can adjust it on the fly. But yeah, you should be able to see that. And all the milling inside. Maybe I have to do this more often. But now, yeah, you can see it. That's awesome. It looks ridiculous on the screen. It looks completely white, I'm sure. But at least you can see on the inside. So there you go. Sinkevich design. That'll make a great Instagram photo. And then the Shiro bear. Super cool. So there you go. Let's unlock the ISO now. Okay, well, hopefully that was nice. Hopefully that didn't look too crazy there for 10 seconds, but sometimes you just have to do these things, and I apologize, but yeah. Otherwise, fit in hand, like I said, it's like holding a pistol. Jimping's good. You've got the cool grip on here, the back. You definitely notice that versus some of the other Shiros, like that little extra grip that provides. I definitely notice that in hand. It's just a different feel compared to most other Shiros. It is a mirror polished edge, as I talked about. We've got a metal lock bar insert / over travel stop, which is done really, really well. I am kind of curious though, because there's so much material taken out on that. I'm wondering if anyone's ever broke that. Any guesses? Like there's not much material there for that to hit against. So I'm assuming someone will just whack that off. It wouldn't shock me if that's been chipped off there. But never know. We've got obviously the hardware that's nicely encased into the handle, and then the Torx on the back and the sync bits with a cool clip. I would have liked to see this clip internally mounted with a screw instead of external, but obviously Sinkevich is the designer, and even on the BIOS it's put in externally, but it would have been a nice detail. Action is terrific. Heavy action. Detent's strong. Can't fail it. Fires out like multi-row. It sounds solid. Like that's the one thing comparing this to some of the other Shiros. It feels super solid. Doesn't feel dainty, doesn't feel delicate. It feels absolutely solid. But the flipper tab, when I'm knocking that out, I've got a familiarity with this that's very similar. See how small it is? It feels very similar to the Kami in how it has like an angle on it that just feels like home if you're comparing the two. I don't know what it is. When you have both in hand, you notice it right away. Like it's just a small little flipper tab with a little bit of jimping on the top, where it's very similar to this, not as exaggerated or as small. But you do notice that, and it's a terrific detail. Love it. Obviously no glass break or anything on the back like some of the others, like the Dr. Death and stuff, but yeah. Beautiful knife. I should probably compare this as well with, I didn't do this earlier, but like the normal 3. I know you guys always like to see that, so I'm going to do that real quick. We'll grab the Stellar. We'll grab the F95. I guess sometimes I just get so caught up in showing this cool knife that I don't even think. I just act. So, and remember, as things get closer to the camera, they get bigger. All right. So F95 Turtle, CD Stellar SR, and a CD Neon. So there's your 3 comparisons that I always like to kind of show. Pretty cool. If we're comparing it to the Turtle, I think that would be the most fitting. So I'll move these and I'll show both sides. Get this more centered on the camera. So there's the bottom, and then I'll put it up top. There you go. So you can kind of see the size. And what you should be seeing here is just how tall the handle is by comparison. That's the biggest thing I notice. You know, you see a nice sweeping Persian blade on it with a nice arch that kind of, in a lot of ways, now that I'm looking at this on camera, it almost kind of has like a boomerang outline to it. Do you notice that? It's kind of cool. It's certainly not as thin as some of the later Shirogorovs, but it's unique in its sense because it just feels like you're holding a pistol. It's locked and loaded. But the biggest feature on this knife, to me, is that, you know, when they're calling it the Jeans, you know, it's a stone-washed handle, right? Stone-washed blade. You've got some tears in it. It's just classic. It's comfortable. Cool back spacer. You know, it's when I think of jeans, I think of, it's not dress and it's not casual. It can kind of be both. So with a knife like this, it's kind of hitting it out of the park. You know, your brass would be like your button. The blue jeans, right? If you want to dress it up, maybe throw something cool and polished, like a lanyard bead or something cool on it, or you just keep it as is and you wear it with a t-shirt, so to speak. Done very well. I'm pleasantly surprised by this one. Pleasantly surprised. This one was a bit of a late addition as well, and I didn't expect this. But I am very pleasantly surprised with what showed up. And very impressed. Even in 2023, when I'm filming this video, still a super relevant knife, one of 200 worldwide. They're starting to be very difficult to find in mint, like this, with an untouched edge. Good action. If anything, I would say the action on this one, like, it's probably been sitting in a box for 5 years. Wouldn't even shock me. Not being used. I did tell you it was on multi-row bearings, which I'm looking and I'm seeing that now. It is on the inside if you're written on MRBS, excuse me. I'm uncertain if it's on the Shirogorov MRBS or if it's on the, quote, Mickey Mouse style MRBS that are in the bios. I'm assuming it's on Sinkevich because it's a Sinkevich model. But I can't... I'm experiencing this knife for the first time with you right now, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, and these older models are a little harder to find all that information on sometimes at my fingertips. But beautifully done. Just a solid knife. Very impressed. I think with this, it's a less is more approach because it's true and it's staying true to the Jeans name, where it's like, yeah, if you want to dress it up, you can. If you don't want to, then don't. But it's like quietly with that, look at that grind, man. You could probably thumb flick this if you wanted to. I'm guessing people are doing that. I wouldn't do it though. Probably could. I just think that grind is so unique. On the one side being like that, and you see the curve, right? And then on the other side it's just blank, it's flat. That's so cool. I love details like that. Absolutely love it. And not only that, I'll say this, like when you close it and you get that sound, because it is a little bigger, it sounds like a deeper close than a traditional Shirogorov. That's kind of like a nice click. It feels a little deeper, a little hollower. Hopefully you guys can hear that, but it just sounds deeper. Very nice. Beautiful to any collection if you can find one. Current market prices on this, I think I saw one today on Recon 1. It had a modified, somebody drilled the pocket clip to go on the other side. I don't know why. And I think that one was going for $2,500 US. To give you an idea, so a modified one's $2,500 US. 2023. So I'm assuming north of that for a mint. Table, I $1,500 maybe when they came out, something like that. But I'm unsure. Maybe $1,700, maybe $1,200. I don't know. Super cool knife. Love it, guys. Okay, well, I'm going to leave you on that because I've got to eat some food. But, oh man, I just love when I do these videos. I get lost in these knives because I just find all these little details after the fact or during sometimes that I just go, oh, I should have brought that up. Like looking at this right now, you're see on the hardware here how it bulges out. Like details like this, where it's like somebody obviously had to enter that into a machining platform and they're like, hey, you know what? Let's do it on all the hardware. Let's put little bulges here to match the pattern because we have to do it probably in one spot, and now we're doing it in all of them. It's just such a nice detail. They do it on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. So cool. Anyway. Well, I think that's it for this guy. Appreciate you stopping by, guys, and checking out the Shirogorov Jeans, which is a super awesome knife. Special edition, collaboration, whatever you want to call it. Actually, this would be a collaboration, not a special edition. But, yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate you. Check out the website, bladezilla.ca. Add me on Instagram as well, bladezilla.ca, or TikTok, bladezilla. Just add me, man. Talk knives, talk EDC, whatever you want to do. I'm always game and more than willing to chat and meet you guys one-on-one. So that's what it's all about for me. All right, guys. Have a good one. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Peace.